Okay, so my goal tonight is to help you learn maybe a new idea on how you can bring STEM to whether you're a club leader or maybe a animal project superintendent, a new way to think about STEM, and maybe to help convince you that you've been doing it all along and maybe you just didn't think about it. So my name is Brooke Stefancic, and I'm the Sullivan County 4-H educator, and I also am over the Agriculture and Natural Resources program for our county. Let's see, there we go. So sometimes I know it feels like when we talk about STEM, if you're not from a science background, you think, I have no idea what I'm doing. And so you don't have to be in a lab to learn concepts on STEM. So when I went to college, I attended Purdue for animal science. And what I thought was going to happen was I was going to be in barns learning about animal management every day. You know, I don't know, learning how to make hay or whatever. And when I got there, my schedule started filling up with biochemistry and biology and all these classes. And so I just really didn't understand coming in, you know, as a teenager, what I was even getting myself into. And so I'm thankful for that now because I love science and it's something I'm very passionate about. And so I like that Purdue helped me realize and that my track helped me realize that how I can use all this science to help me raise healthier plants or healthier animals. So that's a little bit about me and my background and passions for STEM topics. And so like I said, you're probably already doing STEM in your club activities, and especially like livestock and plant activities and food science. They're all based on STEM, whether we think about it in a traditional STEM format or not. And so here's some examples that I want you to think about, and you can type in the chat or maybe raise your hand as I go over them. Are you doing these things already in your clubs? So just gonna whisk those worries away. Are you teaching anything about food science in your clubs right now, or snacks or healthy eating? Anything like that? Raise your hand. Can't see, or use the reactions. So that is STEM. Additionally, okay, so this one says, I should stop these sewing jokes. I'm running out of good material. So sewing, using the sewing machine. I don't know about you guys, but when I start looking at my sewing machine and I think about threading a bobbin, or my thread breaks and I have to rethread it, I think, oh my gosh, the engineering and the technology that went into the development of just this simple sewing machine. They've been around for so long, but I mean, that's really a core thing that science has helped us make sewing a little bit easier. Can you imagine sewing your clothes that you have all by hand nowadays? And then finally, this comic with the brain and the heart and the lungs, exercise science. So are you playing basketball? Are you, you know, doing anything active to start in your meetings? That's a great place to just add a few facts about healthy living. You know, the science of the heart, the science of the brain. We started the week with mental health. And so I hope you get a laugh out of some of these slides today because, you know, STEM and mental health all go together as well. So you say, okay, you've convinced me. I'm doing some of this in my clubs already. We're here to learn some new stuff. So one of the first things that I learned is that sometimes it's hard to purchase things as 4-H club leaders or 4-H offices because we don't always have a credit card. We can go on Amazon and buy what we want. Or maybe it's not at the local store where we could use a check. So this is one option that I found that has worked for us. It's called NASCO. The website's enasco.com. And so they allow you to use a purchasing order, which basically means they send you a bill and you can send them a check in the mail. so you don't have to have a credit card, but you can still order stuff from them online. And so some of the options that I have here, at the bottom left, we see squishy circuits. So this uses like Play-Doh, and they have insulating Play-Doh, which stops current from running through it. And then they have conductive Play-Doh, which would allow current to go through it. And so what you do is you have a battery pack and different lights, and there's different add-ons, fans, buzzers, and you use that Play-Doh to learn about electricity in a fun way. So I've seen caterpillars made with each part of the caterpillar is a different color that's conductive, and then they have different colored lights. Maybe they put eyes on it. You can make a chain with a buzzer. So just to learn those electricity principles, life skills as well, and the electricity component of that. The Play-Doh for that is remakeable. So I actually have recipes that came with it, so you can make your own dough. So it's not just like once that Play-Doh dries out, you can just keep making it and reusing the basic components. The next one's called Rollico sets. So that is just like a fun way to start building. So think about some of those engineering concepts of building things. Simple, $20. The tin can robot, I think this one's cool. Not only talking about robotics there and some engineering, but also recycling, right? We use that old tin can to make something new and fun. And then for the animal science or livestock superintendents, lots of cool stuff like this 4D cow model. They can take it apart and learn about each of those skeletal system, muscular system, where the lungs are, where different parts of the body are. So I think that's really cool to be able to take it apart and see it. The next topic, where can I get some plant science materials if I want to talk about plant science? So the Purdue Agronomy Club has a lot of great resources, and if you just Google Purdue Agronomy Club, their webpage will come up along with their purchasing form, but they have plant mounts, which is basically all the crops. You can get weeds and grains, whatever you want. And so you can use those to talk about plants and identifying plants at your different club meetings. Maybe bring in a sample of hay and compare it to the plant mounts to see if you can compare, figure out what's in that hay based on the sets that we know are already labeled. Soil pH kits they also have, and then soil texture kits. So what does just clay or sand feel like, or a mix of the two? Be good. And so you can see my memes on the right here. It's party time and I'm rooting for you. Just for anyone who's on the phone that can't see the plants. And then some other ideas, decorating pots and plant some seeds or transplants. So one thing I did a while back was painted a clay pot, and I made it look like a lady's face, and then my aloe vera that came up would be like the hair of the lady. And so that's kind of a fun activity that the kids like to do. Exploding seed balls, if you Google that from NASA, you can make that mixture at your meetings, and then they can go home and put them outside, and whenever they get moist, they will explode and put wildflower seeds or whatever you put in that seed ball. Go on a pasture walk. So all you have to do is walk outside and start looking at the grass and the soil and learn some more concepts on STEM. And then finally, for plant science, most counties have what we call master gardeners through Purdue Extension. And they are very knowledgeable, especially about horticulture plants and gardening. And I'm sure they would love to come and do an activity with your club to teach them more about plants and soils. Animal science, so I included this. This is a strong part of my background. So I'm sorry. Most of my puns are not on purpose. So Glow Germ is a fun, cheap activity you can get on Amazon. And what you need, the Glow Germ is luminescent under black light. And so you can sprinkle it on, say, like a show stick or something, and then you challenge the kids to scrub it. And you teach about biosecurity this way. Why is it important that we take this equipment home and wash it after the show? Because you can see, you may not be able to see the Glow Germ, but when we light it up under the light, we can see that it is there, and then how much scrubbing does it take to get all of it to disappear. And then the last thing for animal science is this immunity game. So I kind of illustrated in the bottom, if you can see. So the main components of this would be a physical activity game too for a group that maybe is a little, it's having a hard time to listen. Sometimes we need to get that energy out. And so you have a boundary for your play area. On one end is the vet's office. And so the vet's office has bandanas, which are vaccinations. You'll have most of your 4-Hers as animals who need to be vaccinated against disease. And so they have to make it from one end of the playing field to the vet's office to get their vaccination, which is the bandanas that go on their arm. And in the middle, you have a couple 4-Hers that are the disease. So they're trying to tag these players before they get to the vet's office to get their vaccination. So this is simulating, how diseases are transmitted, or, the importance of vaccinations and protection against disease. So once the players get to the vet's office without being tagged, they get the bandana on their arm, and they can start picking up antibodies from the floor, which would be balls, which is the red on this graph. And so animals who have been vaccinated can have the antibodies knocked away by disease. So the disease-causing kids could be knocking the balls away from those who have been vaccinated. And so if you get all your antibodies lost, you must return to the vet clinic for a booster, or if you get tagged without an antibody, you sit out for 2 minutes. So that's just a fun game to kind of talk about biosecurity and immunity in a way that'll get them up and moving around, get some of that energy out. Any questions on any of that so far? And I can post, after I'm done screen sharing, I can post the link to the to that immunity flyer. So one of the other things that we emphasize in 4-H is life skills, right? Hands-on learning. So really, to me, the life skills and the STEM topics go hand in hand. And so I have a list here of a couple ways that maybe you can think, how will these STEM topics give me more life skills for our 4-Hers? The glow germ you can find on Amazon, and I think that NASCO also has it in a kit with the black light. So the first life skill STEM overlap that I think of is just the basics of car ownership. And so, how do you buy a car? That's economics, which is the type of science. How to maintain your car, that involves technology and engineering concepts. And then how to even change a tire, again, technology. You may have a tire and iron at home, but if you go to a tire shop, they're going to have one of the, air-powered, I can't think of the name right now, to get all the lug nuts off. So one program that I was hoping to do last year, pre-COVID, and I'm hoping to do soon, is an automotive day for our 4-Hers. So I know a few of our parents that like cars, and we also have several local friendly automotive type shops around. So maybe go to a mechanic shop and learn about what they do, what their business model is like, what are the careers, and also just have them teach about basic car maintenance. Go to a tire shop and learn about the careers there, how to change a tire, how to check the air on the tire. So including, both careers and the life skills that they would need all in one. Maybe an auto body shop to learn about careers there as well. And so all of this, we don't think of necessarily when we're driving our car that we're using a lot of STEM concepts, but you are. Very important. Keep that car on the road. We hope the engineer was good that was designing it, right? The next one, laundry. I don't always think about science when I'm doing laundry, but I know I think about it when I have stains that I want to get out. So how do we remove stains? The science of stains. Lots of information online, kind of cool graphs. And so you could test, bringing in different white shirts and putting ketchup on one and soy sauce on one and dirt, and see, just soaking them in a tub with soap versus maybe vinegar or OxyClean, which one cleans up the best. How does hot or cold water affect the wash? So for me, every once in a while I'll hand wash something, and if I hand wash it in hot water, I can see the dye come out more usually than in cold water. So that's just a cool thing to think about. Or, brand new blue jeans, if you put those in the wash, they're gonna bleed more than the blue jeans that have been worn, 50 times. And then basic laundry machine maintenance. I know I always call my dad when something goes wrong and I need some maintenance on my laundry machine, and I've learned a few things. So to be able to offer that to more kids, more 4-Hers would be neat, just life skills for them to have. To even know where to start when they say, okay, I probably need to call someone, but what am I even going to tell them? What's the first step? Photography. So this is kind of for Cheryl. She'll like this one. Thinking about what time of day is the best light, and how do you get the light to hit the person in the right way? So I think of physics and science there. What camera settings are the best? That's technology. How are we using the technology of that camera to our strengths? What lens do I select? Engineering and technology. So knowing how that lens was made and what its purpose is will help us use it better. And then how do I capture the moment? Human science. So how do you get someone comfortable when you're taking their photos so it looks more authentic than someone who's really nervous, capturing the moment so they look more real and not like they're staged. Food science. This is one of my favorite sciences. I'm a big foodie. I love trying new foods and cooking new foods and baking. So how do you cook a basic meal? Think about pancakes. How much baking soda or baking powder do you put in them? Just experimenting with that and see how tall of a pancake can I make. Can I make those Japanese pancakes that are like 4 inches tall? Farm to fork. So can we take foods fresh from a garden and make a healthy meal out of them? What's the science behind cooking that food and how the nutrition is going to impact my body? How to grocery shop on a budget. Economics again there. And popcorn snacks. So there's some really cool activities on popcorn genetics, whether you get mushroom looking popcorn or the general style where it's like smaller in the middle and puffed out on each side. So that could be a fun activity just to learn about the different genetics of popcorn. And then finally, economic science. So you can't go over your budget if you never make a budget. It's not a good life skill to live by, so it's something to talk about. How can we help our 4-Hers learn about finances and economics in a time where I know, especially my generation, the joke is we know the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but we don't know how to do our taxes. So as 4-H, we have an opportunity here as club leaders, as volunteers, to help in some of these areas that maybe we didn't learn it in school or we had to learn on our own. Think about those gaps and how you can help someone else achieve those or learn about those when you would have want to learn about them. So if you guys can put in the chat box or you can unmute, what are you teaching now that is STEM? What topics have you taught in the past that you enjoy? And are you giving any of your older 4-H members a chance to lead younger members through STEM activities? Any comments? I see one question in the chat. Has any junior leaders conducted these at a field day? I haven't had junior leaders teach any of these yet. It's on my list to do. Have any of the other educators had?
not these specifically, but I encourage all clubs in Vermilion County to work in a science experiment that is 4-H'er led at all club meetings. Leading a science is basically.
Oh, I think she clicked out. Someone did Ozobots. Yeah. So obviously the coding, robotics, and all of that is the mainstream stuff that we hear about in STEM right now. So I wanted to give you guys kind of a different view, a different lens of all the options, other than you don't just have to get the computers out and do coding to learn STEM topics. Food classes we did online were great for food science, hoping to do more of those in person. Malia and Greene County had a biosecurity teens as teachers team. They did some of the experiments. Good. So I think one thing I've learned in the past couple years is sometimes I have a hard time getting junior leaders to come to things, some of the older ones, to teach them STEM topics. I'm not necessarily sure why. It seems to be a little bit of a block there. But if we ask them to come teach younger members about STEM topics, we get a lot better of a response. So once they get to those older grades in high school, they're ready to start teaching and sharing their knowledge with the younger members and mentoring them. So I think it's a great opportunity to really use, our older 4-H members in a mentoring process. And if you are, a leader that isn't super confident in science or STEM skills, just let the junior leaders or your older members take it away and teach a lesson. Just tell them, hey, you got 20 minutes at the beginning of the next meeting. Let me know what you need and we'll make something happen. Christy does messy science activities, elephant toothpaste, Diet Coke and Mentos. I haven't done elephant toothpaste yet, but I'm excited about that. It's basically like a giant, you do the baking soda and vinegar, but the elephant toothpaste takes it up a notch to make it even bigger. So that's a fun one. Okay, thanks everyone. I have my name and our office phone and email here. Feel free to get a hold of me if you have any questions. I will stop sharing, and so you guys can keep communicating. What else do you need to help, teach STEM? What else can we provide for you? Malia likes building blocks, strawberries, hex bugs. Fun.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate you sticking around this week with us and learning what we had to offer. Malia?
Thank you.
Thank you. I was just going to second Brooke. I really appreciate you taking your time this week to join us, and hopefully you left with something. If there was something that was especially helpful, or if there was something that you would have liked to have seen, please let us know, because we can offer other trainings at other times. And if there's something that you think would be very helpful, we want to know, because we're here to help you guys make the best better.
And everyone should have my email that had the Zoom link, so you can reply to that if you have comments or any feedback that you'd like to provide for us. So